Hello guys, how are you doing? I want us to proceed from where we left in inequalities, and I want us to discuss something to do with common region. In other words, today I want us to learn how to represent more than one inequality in one graph, giving us what we call a common region. Let's get started. We have got 3y plus 2x is equal to 4. But before we take that direction, let's start by reading the question and get to understand what the question requires of us. What is the question reading? On the same grade, you are being instructed to do this on one graph. Or the question is instructing you to do this thing on one grade. So what is the question reading? On the same grade, graph the inequalities below. Graph the inequalities below by shading. Graph the inequalities below by shading the unwanted region. Like we already mentioned, the region unwanted is the region which does not satisfy our inequalities. That is the region we refer to as the unwanted region. Let's get started. I will start with the first inequality. What do we have in the first inequality? 3y plus 2x is less than 4. We already mentioned from our previous session that for as long as we are still addressing the line, this inequality symbol should be changed into an equal sign temporarily. Take note, for as long as we are talking about the line, the inequality symbol should be changed to an equal sign. Though understand, this is done temporarily. So what will I have? In order to draw the line, a student will be required to start by doing a table. In this table, like we already mentioned, the values of x are usually picked at random. Allow me to go for -1, to go for 2, and the number 5. How do we do the table? We will start with the number -1. We will subtract -1 in this equation. This will be 3y plus 2. In the place of the x, we will substitute -1 is equal to 4. What is 2 multiplied by -1? That should give us -2 is equal to 4. Carry the 2 to the other side of the equal sign. I'll have 3y is equal to 4 plus 2. 3y will be equal to 6 by 3 by 3. That should give us 2. Taking us to the number 2, I will again do away with this. Take your equation, which is 3y plus 2. In the place of the x, substitute the number 2. is equal to 4. 3y, 2 times 2 should give us 4, is equal to 4. The 4 will cross over to the other side of the equal sign, giving us 4 minus 4, giving us 0. Divide this by 3, this one by 3. The value of the y becomes 0. Taking us to the number 5. Though we don't have it in our graph, I will still go for it. As for the number 5, you'll go through the same procedure. I suppose that your calculation should give you 2, negative 2 as the answer. I suppose 5 should give you negative 2 as the answer. So we'll go to our graph. Negative 1 will be plotted against 2. 2 will be plotted against 0. Allow me to estimate the 5 to be somewhere here. This 5 should correspond to negative 2. Please allow me to do that estimation because we don't have it in our graph. Using a ruler, the points will then be joined. Using a ruler, the points will then be joined. Do take note, these points will be joined using a broken line. So we'll have this point, the 3 points you have in your table being joined using a broken line. That is the line 3y plus 2x is equals to 4. 3y plus 2x is equals to 4. The next phase in this business is to decide which region to shade. Do remember, the question instructed us to shade the unwanted region. The question requires us to shade the unwanted region. The unwanted region in this case is the region which does not satisfy the inequality. It is that region which does not satisfy the inequality. How do we decide on the region which does not satisfy the inequality? Like we mentioned already, we will pick a point at random from our graph. Like we already mentioned, we will pick a point at random from the graph. Just make sure that the point you are going to be, you will pick must not be a point on the line. Let it be any other point, but not a point on the line. In this particular case, 0, 0 becomes a very good point because it is faster and much easier. You do not need a calculator to use 0, 0. So let's work with 0, 0. What do we do with 0, 0? We will come to our inequality after choosing 0, 0 as the point you want to use. You pick a point, like I've said, then that point is what we will use to test whether the region is wanted or unwanted. We have one for the point 0, 0. We will then take our inequality. What is the inequality? 3y plus 2x is less than 4. That was the inequality. Please do take note, this time round, you will be required to pick the inequality symbol as well. So what do we have? In the place of y, substitute 0. In the place of x, substitute 0. Is less than 4. 3 times 0 should give me 0, and 2 times 0 should give me 0, which means the entire thing here would result into 0. So 0 is less than 4. Is it mathematically true or false? when we say that 0 is less than 4, is it mathematically true or false? It is mathematically true that 0 is less than 4. So if it is true that 0 is less than 4, then the region where 0, 0 came from must not be shaded. The region where 0, 0 came from must not be shaded. So what do we have? Take note. 0, 0 came from which side? 0, 0 came from this other side of the line. Do take note. This is our line. 0, 0 came from this other side of the line. And we have agreed that if what to get turns out to be true, then that should mean that the region where our 0, 0 is coming from satisfies the inequality. So that means the region which is unwanted should be this other region. This would become the unwanted region. That would become the unwanted region. Bringing us to the next thing. Bringing us to the next phase. The next phase should be the second inequality. And what's the second inequality? Y minus 2x is equal to 2. One thing we must never forget is that for as long as we are still talking about the line, the inequality symbol should be changed to an equal sign temporarily. So what do I have? Y minus 2x is equals to 2. We will then do a table. In this table, we will consider any 3 random numbers. Any 3 random numbers. So what will we have? Let's consider the number -2, -1, and 0. Starting with the -2, I'll have y minus 2. Where there is x, substitute -2 is equals to 2. Negative times negative should give us a positive 4 is equals to 2. The 4 will cross over to the other side to become 2 minus 4. So our y in this case becomes -2. Bringing us to -1. What will we do for the -1? I will again take this equation. Where there is x, we will substitute -1. Do remember that a negative times a negative is a positive. Is equal to 2. Y will be equal to 2. The 2 will cross over to the other side to become a -2. This will then give us 0. Try the 0 for yourself. I suppose you're getting 2. So what do? These points will then be plotted. -2 against 2, -1 against 0, then 0 against 2. Using your ruler, these lines, these points will be joined using a ruler. Do take note, because of the inequality symbol I have here, we will use a continuous line. We will use a continuous line. What is the next business? The next business is now to decide which region is unwanted, or which region are we going to shade. Like we already said, in order to decide on which region is unwanted, you will be required to pick a point at random. Allow me to go for the same point, 0, 0. Do remember we said When picking a point to test, ensure that the point to pick does not fall on the line. So I'll pick the point 0, 0. Then I'll come to our inequality. Y minus 2x is less than 2. This time round, we don't need the or equal to symbol. The or equal to is not required in this case. What we need is just the less than symbol. That is what we'll use to decide whether it is true or false. So the or equal to symbol in this case here is not required. So what do we have? Where there is y, we will feed 0. And where there is x, we will feed another 0. It's less than 2. So the entire thing should give us 0. It's less than 2. The next question should be, is it true that 0 is less than 2? Or is it mathematically false? The answer is, it is true that 0 is less than 2. If it is true, then that means the region where 0, 0 is coming from, this is our line, the 0, 0 is coming from this other side of the line. And because it is true, it means it satisfies the inequality. But if it is false, it means it does not satisfy the inequality. Because if it is true, then it means the region 0, 0 satisfies. So this is the region which does not satisfy the inequality. This becomes the region which does not satisfy the inequality. Which now brings us to the last inequality. What is the last inequality? Y is greater than negative 2. When an inequality carries one variable, one is not required to do a table. When an inequality carries one variable, all you are required to do is just to identify the line without necessarily doing a table. So where is the line y is equals to negative 2? The line y is equals to negative 2 is a horizontal line cutting the y-axis at negative 2. This is the line y is equals to negative 2. We will then ask ourselves, which region would you say is greater than negative 2? Which region would you say is greater than negative 2? Is it the region above the line or the region below the line? The region which is greater than negative 2 should be the region above the line. So on that note, the region below the line will be considered to be unwanted because it does not satisfy the inequality. So the region below the line is referred to as the unwanted. So this becomes the common region. The common region is this region left unshaded. I hope you understood that one. Do more practice. Have a nice time.